That sun won't stop us. We can't read.
More wine.
Yeah.
My name is Claire.
I'm Molly.
And this is
Book
Book Stupid. So it's Super Bowl Sunday. Thank you for wearing your green.
Of course,
really
for my sister.
Very
of course.
sweet.
Yeah.
Um,
We do look like creepy twins, though.
we do, but I love your hat so much. You look so cool.
Thank you. People ask me what it stands for. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, don't
Why
ask
would
me
I
that.
know? Yeah. Are you feeling confident? Are you feeling?
I am. I kept telling Julia, I'm like, I did have a dream this week that they lost in a very like insane way, where like the Eagles scored late in the game and it was like they did it, but then Patrick Mahomes caught a touchdown in the end zone. And
That's
then,
so weird. Why would he be the
But
one
also it was
catching
weird.
there?
Sorry, it was weird because it was like the refs initially didn't rule it a touchdown. People love when you talk about your dreams, especially when they're about sports. But the refs initially didn't rule it a touchdown, but then they were like, oh, wait, it was. But because we got it wrong at first, we're only going to give them 3 points. But it was enough.
Well, wait. Tell me more granular details.
And so then they lost. But then I really just feel very strongly. It's like
in your waking life, you believe.
I'm having like a premonition. Yeah.
Oh,
I think.
Okay.
I feel it in my bones, which I'm sure Julia loves when I say constantly because it doesn't stress her out at all.
Oh, like you're superstitious in the way where it's like, don't say you feel anything.
Yeah, she doesn't, and I think that's a general Philly thing. Is like wait, don't say that they're good. Don't say that you have faith.
Just boo them, boo the fuck out of them.
Yeah, just be mean.
And that's how we get it done, all right?
Speaking of being mean, I feel like we were really being mean on Friday.
You think we were being mean, girls?
Yeah, but not in like a bad way. It was just we were like, you were in the mood to fight, I feel like.
I kind of was, yeah. I was like full fire sign.
Yeah, you were like trying to find men to yell
fight.
at.
Yeah, to yell
Which
at.
I love when you're in that mood, personally.
When I'm hunting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We went to what we often do on a Friday, which is have what do you call it?
Perfect supper.
A perfect supper, which is just usually linguine with clams.
2 martinis, linguine with seafood. So.
Yeah. I like to get the clams.
I like to do kind of a mixed
Yeah.
seafood, the fruta de mar. But yeah, and then you finish with a little dessert.
Yeah.
That's what makes it perfect.
Yes.
All the way through. But we closed out the Italian restaurant, which doesn't
we went
feel
to like
good.
this really cute place, but they didn't have room for us, so they put us in like their wine bar next door with like one. Okay, it was also the 2 of us and Julia, and then a couple.
Yeah.
And we were all having a very intimate time.
And we were like talking loudly about this very podcast, and it was so like, oh no, we've become the people we despise.
Yeah.
Like,
but I think the couple was entertained. Maybe I don't know.
We went on a journey for a while. I was like, oh, they hate us. They think we're like pod bros
and loud
and
just loud generally,
and like our very presence is like an aggression upon their date.
But then they were like, you have to leave the wine bar, we're putting you back in the restaurant. We're like, okay. We always do this where we like close down the restaurant, and I do feel bad about it, because like I'd almost wish that, and I don't think you're allowed to do this in the service industry, but I wish they would just be like, can you please leave? So then I'd be like, okay,
and
I'll
why
leave.
aren't they allowed?
Yeah, and well, I guess it's like rude.
Well, I don't know. I mean, they kept shuffling us and making it increasingly inconvenient for us to stay. And we're like, that sun won't stop us. We can't read.
More wine.
And talk about the biggest martinis I'd ever seen.
Oh, yeah. They were like goblets.
That's why the couple finally kind of broke the fourth wall with us.
Yeah.
They were like, these martinis are huge. But they were both like very slight. They were like, I can't even have half of a martini.
Yeah, that one was like, I'm on the floor. And we were like, oh.
I was on my second.
Yeah.
I was like, they were like, wow, like, who could possibly?
But we left the restaurant, and they, like, literally, we stepped out and all the lights went off. And we were like, oh, fuck, sorry.
Yeah.
And then we went to Brandy's piano bar, which was a fun move.
Yeah.
We picked up a stray on the way.
Yeah, Annie.
She literally overheard
Love
us.
you, girl, wherever you're at.
And she was like, what do you got girls up to? And we were like, we're going to Brandy's. And she was like, can I come? And we were like, okay.
Yeah. Jupes is kind of like our ambassador in many ways. So she was like, sure. And also I'll add you to book club and I'll.
Yeah. She invited us to her Valentine's Day party.
Oh, I forgot
next
about
weekend.
That, yeah.
I will say what I liked. I feel like people at Brandy's were like trying to, maybe it's just the one guy, But I feel like people at Brandy's were kind of trying to flirt.
I think there was a flirtatious vibe. Yeah. At one point, late in the night, and the night did stretch on and on.
Yeah.
After this is like hours after closing out the restaurant, lights go full black as soon as we hit the pavement. There was a pair of strapping young men sitting over by the piano. Jupes was like, we were like, well, maybe we'll go talk to them because I think Jupes had an eye on someone, or he had an eye on her,
right, perhaps.
Whichever way it worked.
Yeah.
And we went over there, and you were like, pass. I was like, no, like, this is, you're gonna go flirt.
You're gonna love this guy.
The other guy. There are two guys over there. You and Jupes are two girls, and then that's how that'll go. And you're like, pass. You sit at the bar by yourself. My passion is being a wing woman. My friends think I am truly abysmal at it.
Because you're not subtle. You're like...
Obviously not. Nothing about me.
You're like, hey, I want you to meet my friend.
With like glossy eyes.
Yeah. And then you're mean to him, and you're like...
Right. I'm like, hey, dumb bitch, would you like to meet my beautiful friend you'd be so lucky to even talk to one time?
I literally, like... Julia came back from the bathroom at one point, and she was like, what is Molly doing talking to this man who I think she had made designs upon? And I was like, you said something.
Jupes had made designs upon, not I.
No, yes,
again,
yeah.
Married.
Right. No, Jupes had said like something about this guy, and you were like,
oh, and then I
you immediately went over there.
To work.
And she came out, and she was like,
ass.
what? And I was like,
such an ass.
Yeah, that's what she does. Like, you can't give any indication that you find someone hot if you don't want her to absolutely blow it up.
Okay. So then I went over with Jupes, and now the second guy sitting there that you refused to make the diplomatic whatever we were on.
Yeah, I was not engaging. I was not coming to the table.
You would not come to the table. You would not come to the table for negotiations. So I'm just sitting there going, "You're gonna love." You're gonna love my friend Claire over there. You're telling me
I was sitting at the bar alone because I wouldn't come over and sit with
you watching us coyly. And I keep talking to the other guy. I'm like, you're gonna love her.
I'm like on Twitter at the bar.
But you eventually do come over. And then I'm like, I keep saying, oh my God, you're gonna love her. He keeps saying, I have a girlfriend. Like, I have a girlfriend. And then you come over and you just keep saying, so how'd you meet your friend?
Because I do this thing when I'm like, I've had maybe a few too many, is I get short-term memory loss, and especially with new people, because I'm just like, I don't really want to be having this conversation, and so I'm just like, it's like my brain defaults to the things you ask about a person, but it's like on a loop.
Where are you from?
Yeah, and he literally,
Any
he was like,
siblings?
we met at a wedding, and then I, like, 30 seconds later, I was like, how'd you guys meet? And he's like, literally, we met at a wedding.
Bro.
He hated me.
Yeah.
So after you sold me as this, like, great time.
No, I only primed him to expect another dumb bitch to come over and be mean. Like,
And once again, he had a girlfriend.
He fully had a girlfriend.
Another
fun night on the town.
It was.
One thing so just another kind of thing we've been talking about recently in our lives, and I think working progress towards. We've been saying we need to train harder.
Yeah.
Maybe like all consistent with this feeling we have to fight. We gotta fight all the time. But
yeah.
Yeah, no, T2 just generally.
Yeah.
I'm feeling like I want to train.
I want to be able to
serious about my training.
I want to be able to like fight. Yeah.
And we mean physically.
Yeah.
Like we go to boutique fitness classes together often. Rumble is a favorite. It feels like what a way to exercise your demons.
Yeah, I really like. I was saying this week. It scratches like a rage itch in me.
Yeah.
That I need in my life.
I grunt.
Yeah.
I grunt.
I actually really hate when people grunt in Rumble. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, I'm like a one of those tennis players.
Yeah. Yeah, no, people literally like make noises in it. But
try not to. Sometimes it just happens.
Yeah. Half of Rumble is like weightlifting.
Yeah.
And half is punching the bag. And I think
it's a circuit class. traps?
Yes. Like, so half of it's weight training,
Yeah.
and I recently realized I've been, like, using weights for babies. Like, at most, I do, like, 7.5 pounds in each hand.
Because you have to, like, kind of self-serve your weights. They don't give you any guidance. It's
No,
like,
they're, like, light.
right,
or-
go heavy. I'm like, I genuinely don't
Like,
know
these are all heavy.
how to calibrate. Yeah, they're all heavy. A baby couldn't lift any of
No,
those.
that's true.
A baby can't lift heads, so how about that?
How many pounds is that?
The human head gets really heavy.
Oh.
Like, I think it's, like, at least 10 pounds.
Like your human head or a baby's?
No, like,
human head?
our human heads, adult human heads.
Okay, yeah. I
So,
see
like, sometimes I'm like, if I'm being toxic about weight, I'm like, yeah, but my head's like 14 pounds.
that. You gotta subtract your head weight. Yeah, so I think I've been trying to do 10 in each.
But like, again, it's like, for what? Like, for a weighted squat, that's not very much. But for traps, oh my god, that's
a
really
lot.
heavy.
So maybe we just need to be doing, like, switching in between them all more. Because usually I'm just like, I'm picking one set of weights.
Normally, okay, I pick a girl that I'm like, she's training
Yeah.
hard. She's part of the army.
Okay.
You know?
But I'm like, okay.
And then
that scares me. But
I look at her and I say, what's she doing? And I try to do what she's doing. And it's, you can always do lighter if you need to, but I like to try to do what my role model does.
okay, that's a good idea.
And I just pick, and I never tell her she's my role model.
Yeah, but she knows.
But she,
God,
she knows.
they always know.
They do. I bet Jupes is a role model. Like,
Well, yeah, I told Jupes that I've been trying to do 10 pounds, and she was like, "That's really, yeah, no,
I know.
that's great. Like,
know.
good for you."
I mean, but it's weird that kind of like organically and separately we came to this conclusion, like,
Yeah.
we really do need to just start training like we're ready to fight.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how to punch someone in the face, but I want to learn how.
You want to learn how?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, sure. I'll do that with you.
It's just like, yeah, I want it.
One time at camp growing up, I went to like sleepaway camp one ass time, and I was so old. My parents were like, "Oh, should we have like done this formative childhood experience for you?" And I was like already 14. They said, I was like, "No," and everyone thought I was so tall that they expected me to like do most of the portage. I had to carry
portage?
a whole canoe over mine shoulders alone.
Okay, hey, tie-dye girl.
Hey, tie-dye girl. And I was like, girls, I'm not that like strong. I'm just bigger than you. My head weighs like 15 pounds. Like, it's just my head.
It's hard to even hold this.
I had to do that. All to say, total divergence. At that camp, Tennis Tim, one of the instructors, gave a self-defense course. That's the only formal training I've ever had. But he was really adamant that your elbow is like one of your greatest assets.
Yeah.
Very sharp like knife. And then here's the next thing you do with that elbow. You swipe it as fast as you can against your adversary's forehead. Forehead's very thin.
Oh, the head produces a lot of blood, I've
Oh,
heard.
bleed. And what a great, placement to get that blood in the eyes as well.
God, he's good. Tennis Tim.
Yeah. Yep. So,
Wow. I took my dad signed me and my sisters up for like a women's self-defense course at like the local like community center when I was in high school. The one thing I took from it is to go for the eyes.
go for the eyes. Yeah. Yeah.
This is where I learned.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. This is where I learned that you should also get them in the nose with the palm of your hand.
Like the heel of it?
Yeah. Like, and it breaks their nose. And I think, like, I don't know if I'm making this up, pushes it into their brain.
Sounds like
And
CTE.
you're supposed to, I'm not going to do it because it's going to be crazy, but like you're supposed to, as you're pushing into the nose, shout no as forcefully as you can, because
Right.
like moving your body that way, like it helps you form like a guttural no sound and alerts others to your attack.
Gets an audience for your sick move.
Everybody check this out. And then you're also supposed to do bird eyes, where you hit them with like peckers.
So you're like two birds. Each hand's a bird.
Yeah, exactly.
Coming for the eyes.
For the eyes, yeah. But I don't want to touch someone's eyes with my hands, even in a self-defense.
I think if I were
Capacity.
scared enough, I would do it. I'm thinking of like putting your finger in a pie and pulling
Exactly. I think the sensation would be horrendous. And not worth it.
And not worth it.
Yeah, so I'm going nose.
Going nose. It's also to break a nose, though. This this brain aspect of it sounds devastating. But a nose can heal. To take out an eye, I'm not sure I'm ready to do that to another human.
Yeah, that's true.
I'd have to be really sure that
capacity.
that their intentions for me are really
like bad,
dire.
Yeah, really scary.
Right. I'm not gonna pluck an eye for nothing.
I'm not taking an eye for nothing.
An eye.
Yeah. On the subject of physical violence, I want to talk about the movie that we watched last night. It was me, Jupes, editor Ben, and Ben's fiance and friend Emma. And we
Thanks for painting a picture.
All right. We all watched Anora last night. I thought it was interesting. I kept wanting it to be like a romance.
Okay.
And I don't know if it was supposed to be, but I just want to talk quickly about it.
Please.
So, do you know the premise of it?
Kind of.
It's this woman, she's a stripper, and she meets this, she's Russian, and she meets this Russian guy.
But she's Russian-American, whereas he's from Russia.
From Russia.
Okay.
And then he's like, I want to hire you for outside services. And so she starts, like, doing sex work for him. And then he's like, I want to hire you as my girlfriend for a week. Sorry, I won't spoil the whole thing. But ultimately what ends up happening is they get married. And she, like, believes it to be, like, a real marriage.
Okay.
And meanwhile, he's like,
no.
Yeah. But, like, there's a funny, like, the way it ends is fun because this guy's, like, dad has these goons who, like, come to beat him up when they find out he's married because they're, like, pissed. And
why are they pissed?
Because, like, he's the son of a very wealthy family. Like, they're just like, you can't marry this woman.
A stripper.
Yeah, it's not right. But that's how they feel.
It's not right.
I don't agree with it.
Okay.
But then the Russian guy runs away, leaving her with these goons, and that's when you know he's trash. But she ends up, like, one of the goons. They, like, low-key end up together.
Oh, nice.
And it was, like, I was really rooting for them the whole time.
Her and one of the goons?
Yeah. And I was like, I'm not sure this is the point of the movie, but I really want them to get together.
Nice.
Like, the whole time, he's, like, trying to restrain her because she's physically violent, which is really fun.
That is fun. But they don't hurt
he's, like,
her, right?
On the subject of, like, women being mean to men, she is so mean to him.
Oh.
She's like, she keeps calling him the F slur.
Oh, my God.
And, like, actively, like, beating him up.
Okay. But he doesn't hurt her, right?
No, he's, like, enchanted by how violent she is. He keeps, like, you, like, get shots of him, like, smiling at her when she's being insane. So it's really sweet.
Love that.
I liked it. Yeah.
That's great. That you're kind of reminded, like, our friend Erin, who is a writer herself, like, is always shipping the guy that nobody wants.
Yeah.
Like, and she prides herself on it. It sounds like you kind of had a little bit of that going on.
But I think you were supposed to like this guy.
This was the conventional.
And which Erin doesn't like. She likes the guy that, like, you're like, who?
Speaking of violent women, she wants you to fight about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, her preferences are
strange,
meant to induce conflict.
Yeah. Like, what I'm saying, I guess, is I don't know if this was the point of the movie that, like,
right.
But I was really hyper fixated on, like, the romance.
Sounds like that's where my gaze would land
exactly.
too.
Yeah. You watched some stuff last night.
I did. After we, like, kind of poisoned ourselves on Friday.
Yeah.
I did a lot of media on Saturday. I want to talk about okay, so I watched the entire second season, just never stopped. Netflix, you still there? You bet I am. Of The Recruit, starring Noah Centineo.
Oh, you tried to get me on this for the first season, and I was like, no.
Listen, it ain't good.
What is it about?
He's a lawyer who works for the CIA, but very, very quickly his job exceeds typical legal work.
Okay.
Like, he kind of operates in this, like, sweet spot of not having to declare as a field agent or an operative, but kind of doing some of the spy work too, and then, slippery slope. But okay, here's mostly what I want to talk about regarding The Recruit season 2. It's primarily in Korea, and I wonder if he was just like already, Noah Centineo was just like already there while they were recording Exo Kitty, because he like pops up.
He's an Exo Kitty?
He just like pops up in that season 2 too. Yeah, I think they're just like, Netflix was like, we've got our asset in Korea, we'll put him in everything we're shooting there for the next 4 months.
Oh my god.
For The Recruit, it kind of like it brought some other stuff up for me.
Okay. Okay.
There's a scene where Noah Centineo is like, you know, kind of, he's meeting an NIS agent, apparently South Korea's like spy agency. I don't know.
Okay.
But the Korean spy is like playing dumb to try to get information out of Noah Centineo. Noah has used a phrase early in their conversation saying like the guy's like, can I sit here? And he goes, knock yourself out. And I, as a viewer, remember watching being like, that's a like pretty obscure idiom to say to a
American.
Yeah, to someone for whom English is not their first language. And the guy like just accepted it and sat down. The guy like proceeds to like incorrectly use anus instead of anal, and what's meant to be like a bit of a
Okay.
he doesn't. But Noah very quickly is like, here's how I know you're not actually a clerk like you say, and you are in fact a spy yourself. Like, you had no reaction when I used a fairly obscure idiom, and then like I saw your belt was frayed where a gun is normally clipped. Like he like, you know, does this
He's
like beautiful mind.
Yeah, I was gonna
moment.
say beautiful mind.
Yeah. And I remember, okay, so I had actually clocked it before he said it. And I was like, yeah, because this is kind of like dumb. Like,
Yeah, okay, so all right, beautiful mind.
so what I'm saying is, I'm as smart as Noah Centineo in The Recruit season 2. No. But I was kind of like, this reminds me of like Dan Brown ass like mystery type shit.
Yeah.
Where it's like, yeah, I can just say things really fast at you and like be like, look at this composite picture I've drawn together. It's like, that doesn't make it smart.
Yeah.
Like people who think Dan Brown is like this master of mystery, I'm like, he just like throws a lot of stuff at you. Yeah. But then you don't watch Traders, though I've tried to get you to.
I'm sorry, I just need to start watching it.
It's fine, but Tom Sandoval's on it, and it's honestly, he's a great ad. He's so twitchy.
Yeah.
But in a recent episode, he literally goes like, I know about mysteries. I've read Dan Brown.
That's so funny.
So funny. And then the like last kind of piece of media that like filled out this picture for me. You know, like it's like a thing on Twitter right now, like a motif to just be like, this must hit so hard if you're stupid. It'll be like quote tweeting something else. It's just like, this just must hit so hard if you're stupid. That's how I feel about Dan Brown. That's how I feel about The Recruit. Like, this must hit so hard.
I mean, I think that about a lot of like mysteries. Is that bad? Like,
no.
And I'll say oftentimes I'm like reading a mystery and I don't figure it out, but once they tell me the solution, I'm like, of course.
Of course.
I knew. It's like, no, you actually really like, your brain was turned off for the whole book.
Completely. But I really hate when the author gets around that by introducing new information that's essential to understanding the mystery in the final 10% of the book. I
completely agree. That is so annoying and unfair. You have to give us an Easter egg. Like,
I want
because
you to have given me a shot.
Yeah. The whole point of reading a mystery is I get to play.
Right.
Yeah.
It's kind of like how I want The Voice to not show us the artist. I want to play The Voice too.
Wait, you don't? Oh,
I want my chair to be turned around.
That's a really good idea.
I don't think it's original. Like, I think this is actually like a pretty common response.
Everyone's like
from The Voice Hive, which I'm a proud member of.
You are like the founding member.
I want to play a little bit. Yeah.
No, I mean, I guess you could just like close your eyes while you watch.
Yeah, and they do treat some auditions. They like keep the artist in the dark until you get one chair turn, and then you start to see.
You need like a VR headset
to watch The Voice.
Yeah,
and a swivel chair.
Yeah, where it's you looking at a crowd.
That would hit so hard for stupid people and me. Yeah. Hell yeah.
Well, that's fun.
Yeah, the other thing I watched was a limited series on Netflix based on a true story about a lie, apple cider vinegar. It's like primarily about Belle Gibson, who was an Australian like.
Wait, there's someone named Belle Gibson? That's crazy.
Yeah, and they don't even like say that enough.
That's
in the
wild.
show. They say it a few times, but yeah, Belle Gibson.
That's tough for them.
And she's Australian. She was like an influencer kind of. She lied about having cancer.
Okay.
And that was also her undoing, obviously. But
Wait, so she was an influencer and then she lied about having cancer?
no, she built her platform on the lie. Particularly insidious because like her platform was all about like rejecting conventional Western medicine or like pharmaceutical medicine, whatever, and just treating things like
RFK loves her.
Juice. Yeah, RFK loves her. And it's really sad. The whole series is sad. It was like my main impression of it was, wow, what a harrowing and like very real depiction of cancer killing people. Because she's part of, you know, a wider community dealing with cancer who like it's illustrating how kind of dangerous RFK medical misinformation can be. So the people that really do have cancer, you know, you see them struggling with it. It's just fucking brutal.
I like follow a couple people on TikTok. It feels like wrong of me or like voyeuristic.
Yeah.
But like I follow a couple of people who are struggling with cancer on TikTok, and it's just like,
yeah,
especially young people, watching like young people go through that.
Oh my god, I know.
Brutal.
Yeah, it's one of the, I felt weird after watching it, like I do with a good book, where it's like you feel so immersed in that these characters and their world, like you're kind of like feeling like bad because the subject matter is so heavy and hard. You're kind of like you need a palate cleanser or something.
I get that.
Yeah, which I mean, I think that's a marker of great storytelling now.
Recruit.
That is exactly the sequence I watched it in. You're right. Yeah. I watched Apple Cider Vinegar, and then I
need to go to Korea right now.
I gotta hang out with Noah Centineo, and he and I are on equal footing.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So that was kind of my media. You watched another kind of oldie though recently.
Oh yeah. Okay. So last weekend I was in Boston with my family for my nephew's birthday. And
HBD.
Yeah, we stayed at a hotel near my sister, and we were checking out on Sunday morning, and the hotel was playing 10 Things I Hate About You.
Nice.
And I was like, God, I love this movie. So on my train ride home, I watched it. I have to say, like, I didn't realize, or I guess I didn't remember how much there's like so many hate crimes in that movie. It's like so early 2000s. There's
is it even?
It's actually 1999.
Yeah, I thought
because
so.
my mom asked, and I was like, I think it's 1999, and I was right. Which is crazy.
Yep.
But like R word, like so many mentions of she's such a bitch because she gets her period. Like that is like because the main character, the protagonist, is a bitch.
Yeah,
and that's why I like the Taming
Who
of the
is
Shrew.
tamed.
Yeah, and I think this is why I like this movie. I just love an angry woman. Like there's so many funny shots like where she's like sitting at home reading the bell jar, like, and then she goes to Sarah Lawrence. It's like she just is who I wanted to be in high school.
Yeah,
not even close, but like she is like the archetype.
Yeah. Yeah. She's so pretty too.
Yeah. Oh my god. And yeah.
To say nothing of him. Oh my god.
Also, one thing I think is funny about them as a couple is they look alike to me.
Oh. Huh,
which I feel is very people get with people they look like, so I feel like it's very like realistic.
Okay.
But there was one thing I wanted to two things really I wanted to point out from the movie. One is that the guidance counselor in the movie is played by, what's her name? Laura Janney or
Allison Janney?
Allison Janney, thank you.
You got it.
And she is writing a romance novel, which is so funny. Like every time anyone comes into her office, she's like talking about something pulsating, and she's like, "Ugh, what?" And I'm like, "Oh, I am her. We are
so
her."
Funny. Craft that onto corporate jobs.
Yeah,
high school educators.
And she's like asking people for synonyms for like pulsating. But the other thing I wanted to talk about is like, or actually there are three things, I'm sorry. There were a couple of lines that I thought were great. One is when Joseph Gordon-Levitt goes with his love interest to the Shrew's house, and they're like trying to find things about her to like help Heath Ledger get her.
Yeah.
And the sister pulls out a pair of black underwear, and she's like, oh my god, she has black underwear. And Joseph Gordon-Levitt's like, what? And she goes, a girl only buys black underwear if she wants someone to see it.
Okay, what?
And I just want to say, no, a girl only buys black underwear if she has her period every day, which apparently this woman does. But like black underwear, that's just what I mean. That's my like default.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I'd say that's most underwear.
Yeah,
even.
right. Yeah.
I guess
in that color family at least.
People wear like nude colors.
That's crazy to me.
Well, yeah, but we've already discussed that you like embrace a VPL. That's visible panty
So
line.
you're saying I have bad taste?
Well, no, I think people wear like a skin colored
when they don't want
their underwear to be known, but you're kind of like you pride yourself on your underwear
like,
being known.
look at my undies.
Like you would wear like a black undie with a white pant or with
No, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. But I very rarely wear a white pant. So
I guess that's true. Yeah, no, black underwear.
But I do kind of think, sorry.
No.
I think it's sometimes chic to wear like a white skirt with a black underwear.
You're speaking specifically about the white skirt
Yeah,
you
that
got
I
in
own.
Miami.
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
like to do it with a black bodysuit.
Yeah. So not really underwear. It's more just like...
No, I'd say like the way sartorial trends are going, like people like seeing underwear through clothes.
Guess I'm just ahead of the curve on that one.
What I'm disturbed about when you do your bodysuit as the thing that can be seen, it's like, can you see the snaps?
No, you'd have to be up my skirt
Can
to see
you see this girl's wearing a onesie for babies?
Well, yeah, you can intuit that I'm wearing a...
You're not wearing like a Leo from dance class?
Well, essentially.
Yeah, except convenient.
Okay, and then the other thing I wanted to talk about was there was a baseball line that literally, I heard it and I went, oh my god, I love that.
Okay.
The dad at the end is kind of trying to like bury the hatchet with his bitch daughter. And he goes, Bianca's the younger one.
Yeah.
And he goes, Bianca still lets me play a few innings. You've had me on the bench for years. When you go to Sarah Lawrence, I won't even be able to watch the game. I know.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah. Dads.
Dads in baseball, too. Whoa, that's sad.
Yeah, it just kind of moved me. I don't know.
It is also so funny to me how they just, like, absolutely dox Sarah Lawrence like that.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
We are talking about a specific university.
A specific
Sarah
type
Lawrence.
of specific type of girl.
Yeah, yep.
But yeah, that's
really sad.
I watched that movie and I still love it, but it's very problematic.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, it sure is, but doesn't mean it's not great.
No.
So long as we contextualize it with its moment in time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, amazing. Is there any other culture we wanted to talk about or writing?
I'm sorry, I do have one. Yes.
Please.
I went with Jupes and Emma this week to see One of Them Days. It's like a new, I guess you call it a rom-com, but it's more calm. With Keke Palmer.
Oh yeah, it's Kiki, it's
And
SZA.
Yeah.
And isn't who's the director?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay.
But Keke Palmer is just like,
she's a generational talent.
Her comedic timing is crazy.
Holy shit.
Like,
and she can do it off the cuff. She can
I
do
was gonna
scripted.
say, it feels, and I don't know if this is true, but it feels like she's doing improv like for most of the time because she's just that like
good at
natural.
scripted too. Yes.
And she's a great romantic lead too. Like,
she's beautiful.
yeah, just beautiful, so funny, and like she plays a really good like flawed character, I feel like.
Love.
But there was one piece of writing in it that had all three of the girls, we were kicking our feet. At the end, so she has this like kind of love interest who she thinks is like this bad guy. Like there's like rumors that he's been to jail and everything, but it turns out he was just a firefighter.
Which you also have a problem with.
Yeah. I do have like a thing about firefighters, but
But we won't get into that.
I can't get into that right now. So she ends up with him because she like gets to know him throughout the movie, and then it ends with her like setting her apartment on fire, and he saves her, and she realizes he's just a firefighter.
She didn't know that until
No.
he switched. Nice.
And then the way he is like, whatever he, the way he makes a move on her is he's like, "Are you gonna call me, or are you still scared?"
That's good. That's tight copy.
Oh
my
because it was
God.
also like not just that she was scared of him because his name is Maniac, but scared of like she's like scared of intimacy,
scared of love.
Yeah, so that did a lot for me because I think I'm scared of intimacy.
You're gonna call me, or are you still scared?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. And we were all like,
yeah, that's hot. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
As a good example of good writing.
Yeah.
The main thing that popped. Okay, so I know talked about like timidity in writing, like using passive voice makes you like a weaker writer, like, you know, relying on adverbs, whatever. I ran across like, for whatever reason, I've been getting a lot of Joan Didion content in my life recently. Though I think I've read like essays, but I've never read like Slouching Towards Bethlehem. Have you ever read her?
I've read Slouching Towards Bethlehem, yeah.
And?
But like, I mean, she's incredible, yeah.
She's incredible,
yeah,
right? But
she's very interesting because she's like tackling such heavy subject matter too.
Right. But actually, have you read Zadie Smith? I don't know if we've ever talked about her.
I haven't.
Okay, she's great.
Yeah.
I think she's quite good. But she got my attention was her speaking on Joan Didion's writing style. Just an excerpt, she goes, when women writers of my generation, obviously following Joan Didion's like peak fame, when writers of my Zadie Smith's generation speak in odd tones of Didion's style, I don't think it's the shift dresses or the sunglasses, which like I think it gets reduced to a lot. Like 100%. What's the latest? Like,
oh my god, we've got to stop saying that, but yeah, 100%.
Didion and Babbitts, is that recent book?
Oh yes, yeah.
I want to read that. I clearly have to read the source materials.
Yeah.
I have to read each of their writing independently before I read that. But yeah,
It's been tote bagified.
I have not read it, but it does seem like the interest at least has centered on the aesthetic of these two women more than their writing. I don't think it's the shift dresses or the sunglasses, the cigarettes or commas, or even the M-dashes that we revere. Even though all those things were fabulous, it was the authority. And that to me was like, she's an unflinching writer.
She, yes.
It, you know, kind of dovetailed with their, you know, we were talking about like how weak writing is often timid or insecure. It's like to write with authority is often, I think, like that difference maker between competent and good writing. I don't know.
Yeah, I think one thing about like she's always has a point and she knows what it is and it's very clear what that point is.
Absolutely.
That's a very astute observation.
The authority of tone, there's much in Didion that one might disagree with personally, politically, aesthetically. I will never love The Doors, but I remain grateful for the day I picked up Slouching Towards Bethlehem and realized that a woman could speak without hedging her bets, without hemming and hawing, without making nice, without poeticisms, without sounding pleasant or sweet, without deference, and even without doubt. It must be hard for a young woman today to imagine the sheer scope of things that women of my generation feared women couldn't do, but believe me, writing with authority was one of them.
Oh, yeah, no, I think that's something that we take for granted for sure. Like the idea of being able to, as a woman, have an opinion and write it down is not something that always existed.
No, and like that I think we're going to write in a genre that's been often minimized because of its association with gender. I think like writing, it's even within like the past 50 years that women were allowed to have as direct or abrasive even a tone as we're allowed to write with. I mean, how ridiculous, but like
it's a privilege to do the work.
It's a privilege to do the work. And it's not just silly romance. To be a woman writing a genre that women love in like whatever fucking way we choose.
Yeah.
What a privilege. Yeah, a privilege to do the work too.
This is reminding me, I saw something recently about people talking about like Sally Rooney and how like she gets reduced to a romance writer, which again is not a problem, but she is one of the most insane I think she is one of the most insane writers writing right now.
I find
just
that,
like the way she's able to distill human feelings and like the experience of being human period is crazy.
In fucking prose, artistic prose. Like she is a powerful
She's
writer.
unbelievable. And she just also happens to write a lot of smut into her books.
Because, lo and behold, part of the human experience.
Yeah.
But no, to say like a romance writer, I believe is reductive only because like she is one of the best contemporary literary fiction like geniuses right now. And if her material were wars, everyone would be like, yes.
It's just like wars between lovers.
Wars of the Heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, kind of the same thing. So
Did you read Intermezzo yet?
no, I have to. I literally was just thinking about this last night. I have to read Intermezzo.
You're gonna love it.
Did you read it?
Yeah.
Oh my god. You don't. I thought you didn't like Sally Rooney.
Well, okay. You know, I have an issue with Sally Rooney. Some of her earlier novels that are entirely predicated on miscommunication.
Yeah.
I'm like, maybe just talk to each other even once.
But I don't. I mean, I like that because I think that's very human.
It is, but I'm like, it's a way I would really wish humans were different.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, one other thing I wanted to talk about is just a piece of writing that I think about all the time.
Yeah.
Really, there is no one to me who, well, no, not no one, but Florence and the Machine is able to so correctly talk about like depression and creativity to me.
Yeah.
In a way that really, like, sometimes I'm like, is she inside my brain?
Wow.
And I just wanted to like, I wrote down all the lyrics to one of her songs.
I love that. Yeah.
I don't know if we have, I'll just read it.
Please.
But do you know the song King?
Of course I know
Yeah.
the song King.
This song and Girls Against God from I think it's her last album, both I was like
Yep.
short-circuited when I heard it.
King did that for me for sure.
Yeah, but okay, I'll just read it. We argue in the kitchen about whether to have children, about the world ending and the scale of my ambition, and how much is art really worth. The very thing you're best at is the thing that hurts the most. I need my golden crown of sorrow, my bloody sword to swing, my empty halls to echo with grand self-mythology. Kill me, like literally kill me.
No, it's awesome.
I am no mother, I am no bride, I am king. And then the outro also really speaks to me, where she's like, because this whole song, she's like, very like, I'm the boss, I'm everything, you know. But at the end she says, and I was never as good as I thought I was never satisfied, it never let me go, just dragged me by my hair and back on with the show. Just like, ouch. Ouch. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just like, this is how, like, especially this beginning part, like, we argue in the kitchen about whether to have children. I've like never been in a real relationship, and yet I've had, like, I feel like I'm constantly arguing in the kitchen about whether to have children.
Completely. Yes.
And like, yeah, just, I don't know, it very much speaks to me about like having all of these really big dreams. Yep. And feeling unlovable because of them.
Yeah. I really resonated with this one too. I think it is what an encapsulation of a core human experience, but particularly for women, I think. Yeah. But like, I like too that it kind of is, I have to have this kind of self-grandiosity or like this kind of ego to match the scale of my ambition. But you also, it's kind of like you like fake it till you make it vibes. Like, you have to believe that cultivate you are that in yourself,
a mythology,
to even give yourself a shot at it. But then there's the other side of that coin that's always there is like a knowledge, like that
you have been,
you're never as good as you say. You're not King, like
you are not Stephen King.
We'll never be him.
But yeah, I think there is like something, I agree, like you have to be so delusional to get there, but then the whole time you also, it's better if you don't know it, then that's a problem, I think.
Totally, yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, I just sometimes listen to that song and sob.
She is a totally exceptionally great creator. Like, yeah. I think it's even more valuable to hear it from someone who's out there producing it like wonderfully,
totally
like impactful and moving work.
Yeah, and she's still like
grappling with
I feel like a fraud.
Yep. Yeah.
Oof.
Oof.
Anyway, that's all I wanted to cover on writing today.
Remember when Kylie Jenner called herself King Kylie for like a decade?
It's kind of chic, even though I don't really fuck with her like that.
Yeah, it was when she was a teenager too. King Kylie.
Yeah.
Whatever, bro.
Okay, so you want to set up our exercise of the week?
Yes. Okay, so this time, as we inch closer to, like, okay, so right now, I don't know when you're going to hear this, but right now it's February.
Yeah.
And we're both kind of feeling like Wait, we have to write books
Yeah.
by the end of the year.
It's time to deliver on the promise of the premise.
The promise of the premise. So in working towards kind of finalizing each of our ideas for our own books, we were doing some work on like what we like or don't like.
Yeah.
And what we read in the genre today. And we thought it'd be useful to talk through that here. Just kind of like pressure test.
Yeah, like what
concepts.
what are the things we want to see in our book?
Right.
Yeah.
And given that we are coming from the lens of we are writing what we want to read, let's talk about what we like to read. Yeah?
Yeah.
Can you start?
I
You've
want
got a
you to
good
start.
list. So one of mine, I really like it. I was gonna start on a kind of a silly and vain one. I need to believe the characters are hot.
I agree with you.
And I don't
It takes me out of it when I'm given a characteristic that I'm like,
completely
Yeah.
yes. And I think to that maybe larger idea of like how to write in people's physical
yeah,
appearances, I don't love it either when a book goes too far in the direction of like the large globes of her breasts contained my whole world, or like
it's a little personal. It feels like.
I in my column of likes, I love when a protagonist she doesn't have curves. All right, we don't hear. We don't have to hear
your book
about
is
them.
gonna be like she's got a special bra for her small titties.
She gets Instagram ads from Pepper.
But she's okay with it.
She's okay with it, and she really accepts herself, and
Yeah.
it allows other people to love her too.
People love her even though she has small boobs.
More so, I just like I'm not there for like
Yeah, gratuitous Yeah.
descriptions of
So it feels
a
a little bit
woman's
like
breasts.
male gazy, even when it's written by a woman. I'm still a little bit like it feels like you've been poisoned by the male gaze.
Yeah, and aren't we all? But,
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
but yeah, no, but I do need them to be hot, and I think like the perfect like thread of the needle for me is when you give just like very sparing like details about appearance, mostly through the lens of other characters' perception of that
Oh, I love
of your
that,
character. Yeah, like I don't want a paragraph of exposition like her soft brown hair falls just above her shoulders. No. I want to hear at some point
Oh
a
my
character
God,
say,
I already love this. Yeah.
yes, like he's saying, I love your hair when it's pulled back like this or whatever. Like,
Yeah, he's like, I've always admired that mole on your
Right.
nose or something, and you're like, oh, she
Right.
knew about my mole.
I like that. But on the flip side, when books are like really emphasize, like, I'm not like a supermodel. I don't look like the girls in the magazines. Nobody fucking asked you to. Stop talking about
Yeah.
it. Like, but it also takes me out of it. I'm like, okay, are you
Are you
ugly?
ugly?
You have to tell me legally. You have to tell me if you're ugly. And I just want to like I want it to be
I want
like
it to be played by an A-list actress.
I want to start with the premise that you guys find each other unbelievably attractive.
Hot, no
Yeah.
matter what.
No matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't need to know like the things that you like. I don't need to be like he loves her even though.
Right.
Yeah, I don't need to know.
I don't need to know that.
Yeah.
Right. I'm just a lot more interested when, like, the conflict she has to overcome, the stuff she has to work through to be able to accept the love in front of her has nothing the fuck to do with her physical appearance.
Yeah. I don't need it to be like cookie cutter, like Chris Evans. I don't know why he's not even like in the zeitgeist, but like Chris Evans and like some really hot woman. I don't know. Like I don't need it to be that, but I just need to believe that they're gorgeous.
Yeah. And you know how you can achieve that? By, like, not really talking about it that much.
I actually so agree. So you don't want to hear like
No.
Yeah.
Like, all I want is the characters indicating to each other through words or actions that they find each other hot.
Yeah. I want them to be two like blank slates upon which I can project my
Yep.
fantasies.
Yep. I already, maybe this is a little to writing process that we don't need to get
Yeah.
into, but I've already mentioned Erin in this episode, our friend who's a writer, but she is a screenwriter.
Yeah.
And she, I know, creates like
Mood
really
boards.
robust
Yeah.
like dossiers for her characters as she's writing. And it'll be like, these are the actors I'm picturing, and she like has a really robust working knowledge of like no name child.
Oh my god, yeah. That's so
Always
true.
like casting them.
Yeah,
in her
she's like,
shit.
you know, Jeff, whatever. And you're like, no,
No.
he's 10, you know.
So what 10-year-old is named Jeff?
I'm sorry. I literally don't know why I said that.
But I don't need, I, the reader, want to be building that dossier. I don't need my author to have done that for me.
I'm okay. I think it's okay to, as the author, do it. But then I think personally, I want to, like, it's my private journal. Like, I don't need to, like, then tell
Right.
you about it. Like, I think it will help me to flesh out who they are, but I don't think I necessarily need to tell you who they are.
Okay, great. You're not going to write, like Chris Evans.
No, but I'm going to be like, her huge, milky titties.
You bitch.
Okay.
What do you like? Yeah.
All right.
Give me
So
one ears.
I have mentioned this literally in every episode, but for me, like the best,
The tits.
the titular. It's not even the right word, but like the trope that I will be writing. Just gonna say it.
You're ready to put that stake in the ground?
Yeah.
Hell
Is
yeah.
enemies to lovers. I love it when two people hate each other, and it's just toxic as hell. I love it. And I have written here, the meaner the better. So the meaner that they are to each other, the better. I love it. Another thing I really like is work romances.
Okay, yeah.
Like forced proximity, anything where you're like,
I like that too. Forced
like-
proximity.
and ideally you're both fighting over something work related, maybe like the hating game, where it's
Okay.
like these two people work at a publisher and they're both trying to get promoted,
Right.
So like anything where there's like a little bit of competition.
Gotta land the account.
Totally.
Yeah.
I'm
Hell yeah.
also a big fan of second chance romances.
I think that might be what I'm gonna write.
Not to, I feel like I don't want to get too into the idea yet,
Yeah.
but I think mine is going to be a little bit second chancey.
Okay.
But not, like, I really like in Beach Read. Beach Read to me is like the perfect romance novel in a lot of ways, by Emily Henry. They're both writers.
Yes.
And they knew each other in college. They're both writing new books, and then they decide to swap genres.
Yeah.
She's a romance writer. He is a like
historical fiction or something.
yeah, he's like a more respected genre.
Literary fiction.
Yeah. But I just love that because it's a little bit second chancey where they like overlapped in college, but like
And had a bit of a rivalry.
I think they maybe made out or something, but it's not like that deep.
He like stared at her really intently
Yeah,
across the dance floor
but
or
then
something,
and then he does a
kissed.
thing where when they get together where he's like,
Pined.
I literally broke up with my girlfriend in college because he looked at me at a party, and I'm like, yep, sold. That's called good romance. Fighting over someone for years and years.
Yeah.
So yeah, pining is probably also a thing that's going to be present in mine. To that end, I really like time jumps.
Okay.
Sorry,
Do you
did you want me to do my whole list?
No, and I'm just gonna keep responding.
Okay.
Too, 'cause...
and I think this goes into the second chance romance.
Do you like time jumps back and forth or just once?
So I'm glad you asked me that, because I don't mind back and forth, but it does kind of like, it's a bit whiplashy for me. So I kind of like when they allude like something happened years ago, and
Yeah.
you never really get what it is until you're like 75% of the way through the book,
And then we go back.
and then you go back.
Okay, I like that too.
So I like that.
Back and forth, not my favorite.
It's not my favorite, but like I can tolerate it.
And when done well, I'll read it all
Can
day
be great.
long.
Yeah.
That kind of happened in the book we talked about last episode.
Yeah.
How to End a Love Story.
I thought there was a tasteful amount of jumping back and forth.
I thought that was fun too. Actually, wait, on that subject, I wanted to talk about narration styles.
Yes.
Okay, so I think my general preference is for like a limited third person. Like I want to mostly know
Oh, interesting. Okay.
the interior of the protagonist, but you know.
But you want it to be third person.
I want it to be third person.
Okay.
It got a little like, I'd say the book we talked about last episode, How to End a Love Story, spent like probably 80 to 85% of the time focused on Helen, protagonist.
Yeah.
But then you'd get certain chapters where, again, it's still third person, but now we're focused on the
yeah.
interior of Grant or whatever the
Yeah.
guy is. And like, I thought it was well done. I thought the writing was great, but it's a little bit of a hard perspective for me. And I'm like, either split it 50-50 and make that part of the plot where it's like,
Yeah, where we're going
we're
back,
learning
yeah.
each other. Yeah, like, because you've had me spend so much time close to like her perspective on their developing romance, and now to throw me into his, I'm like,
don't even really want to hear from him. Yeah.
and it feels like a little bit of a cop out. It's like it's kind of like I want to be in the dark on The Voice. Like I don't want to see that.
I don't want to see the inside of that man's brain.
Right. I don't want to see that singer until my chair turns. Like I am on this journey with the protagonist where a lot of it is like, what is he thinking, and like what are we?
Yeah,
don't let me, the reader, in.
It's like the opposite of the mystery thing where it's like, actually, I don't want to know.
Yeah. But I think if you're going, third person omniscient, you need to spread the love very equally.
Okay.
Or go limited. Just give us mostly the interior of one person.
Yeah, and I guess I've never really read one from a man's perspective, so I don't know. But I have it written down. I said first person narration, I think, is my preferred.
You like that best?
I think so, but I don't think I've paid enough attention to that.
Have you tried like writing a few pages?
No.
Genuinely? So it's
hard. Period, this is gonna be hard.
It's gonna be hard. But I feel hung up on the narration style, and then I also feel, this is gonna sound so ridiculous, hung up on tense.
No, yeah.
And to your point, it's something that's like ambient. It's like you don't notice it when it's
good.
Done well.
You shouldn't notice it. Yeah.
But do you write it in past tense? Do you write it in present? I don't know.
Yeah, I think I need to like read maybe like my favorite romance novel again.
Yeah.
Or something, or like a couple.
You
of
return
them.
to Beach Read.
Yeah, I'm just like, maybe I should reread Beach Read.
Okay, Emily Henry was going to be my example of like favorite book.
Yeah.
But it's Book Lovers.
Yeah, I know. We have, I think those are her two best, but we have different.
Yeah, different faves.
Yeah.
We back different horses there. Notably, Book Lovers, that's a protagonist with no tits.
That's why you love it so much.
That's why I love it so much. Yeah.
I love that one too, because that's also like enemies.
Which,
lovers.
okay, also on my list, one of my favorite things is, and we've now hit this so many times in this conversation, but like, I like a really ambitious, kind of prickly, like woman as your lead.
I have for the work romance. I think that's why I also like work romances. It's because like they both really like have something they're super passionate about. It doesn't have to necessarily like be. I don't know. I like. Sorry, this is a tangent, but like I texted you when we were both reading that Catherine Walsh book about the investment banker, and I was like, I really love that she loves investment banking.
Right, and
you very rarely get an investment banker protagonist,
and I love Catherine Walsh. And I want her to love us too. So I'm
treading lightly.
This, but living in New York and being very adjacent to investment banking, listen,
no one's in love with it.
No, it's just I've got some notes on how it was rendered, the profession. I think,
sure. One thing I think I liked about it was not necessarily that she was an investment banker. I could care less about that, but that she cared about her job, and she cared about,
when faced with romance as an alternative to that job, she's like, no, I really like my job. Like, I don't have
so
to...
girl boss of us, but
it's like I'm so sick of like we are inundated with media that pushes the opposite narrative, where it's like big city bitch with tough job realizes true meaning of life is like being barefoot and pregnant in the country. And no. And it forces this false trade-off of like, you can't have love while also being the kinds of people we are. And I would like to write stories that are more reflective of a cosmopolitan modern woman experience.
Who wears sneakers on the train.
And I don't have, other shoes to change into at the office.
I'm wearing my sneakers.
I'm wearing my dirty ass sneakers.
I have actually a different pair of sneakers to go to the gym after.
And I keep my protein powder in my desk drawer.
Yeah. But I think I'm curious which one will come more naturally to me, because I'm open to third person narration. I think I just like being in a woman's head.
Totally. But you can definitely give a lot of
that.
insight into her thoughts and her Because you know everything as God, as narrator
It's true.
God.
With my mood board.
Yeah, right. You're the only one who knows what she looks like.
I have written down here, the beach, exclamation point.
I saw you wrote that, and I wrote the city, exclamation point.
I think mine will probably be, well, actually, no, I keep going back and forth on this. Whether to put it in, like, a beach. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. But
having a little bit more info on your tentative
Yeah.
premise than the listeners, I would say your premise gives you the opportunity to explore some fun settings.
yeah, I actually almost think I can't really do city with mine. But
probably not either.
yeah, I can maybe. Just with
Maybe.
some copyright issues.
But I think you can take yourself to Florida.
I'm kind of interested in taking myself to, like, but I don't want to hallmark my book, you know? I don't want to be like, oh, she's in the small town in Georgia. Like, I don't want to ballerina farm
But your
my,
favorite,
my protagonist.
both of our favorite Emily Henrys bring the like kind of big city sensibility people. I sound like such a
yeah.
fucking dick. I'm
No,
literally
no.
from the Midwest. I'm from a town of 16,000 people. But
I know what you're trying to say. I think, like, it can be done really tastefully. Is the
right. You
Yeah.
don't have to like let the setting be the story.
Yeah,
in
yeah.
the way.
and you don't have to let the setting, like, limit your
Right.
girl.
Right. You can take a person and put them anywhere, and they'll still be them.
Grow where you're planted. Protagonist.
Anywhere you go, there you are.
Yeah.
But I said the city because I actually do want to make the setting part of the story. Like,
Yeah.
I love New York media.
Yeah.
I love movies set in New York. I love books set in New York. I don't know if I've said this. Stop me if I have already said this. A rom-com I like, weirdly.
No, you haven't said this, but I know what you're going to say.
Yeah. Is Something Borrowed by Emily Griffin.
Yeah.
It's not a
I
particularly
hate that
good
movie.
book. It's a bad movie
Yeah.
and not a particularly great book. But the premise is, you know, you've got your main girl and her best friend, and the main girl, I don't know, it's Ginnifer Goodwin in the movie.
Yeah. She is so.
Let's call her Jennifer. But she has this best friend from law school she pines after. She introduces her best friend from life to him, and like she never voices her feelings for him, so her best friend makes the move. Now they're getting married, and then most of the book is about Jennifer kind of like going for it anyway now that her best friend is engaged to him and
Yeah.
they have an affair. But
It is an interesting premise. Like, a very.
It
Yeah.
is. And it's a little too neat. Obviously, they then have the like best friend who's wronged in this love triangle situation also have an affair. Like it's all a little too
Yeah.
clean. And even get pregnant by the guy she's having, whatever.
Sure.
So happy for them. What I love about the reason I love it and have loved it, and I've reread it like maybe
Yeah, no,
3 times.
I know you.
It's like it's such a high fidelity picture of the city. It's like they have a share house in Montauk, and they live on the Upper East Side, and it's just like, yeah, like that's what it looks like. And the way they use even just the schedule of like weekends, some people go to the share house, others don't
Yeah.
because they've got work commitments, whatever.
It's lived in.
Working in that infrastructure to drive certain plot developments, like
Yeah.
it's when Jennifer and the guy are like the only two left in the city over 4th of July weekend that like they finally go there or whatever, and it just felt very
Yeah, that's a real
New
thing.
York. But I just need to say, now that I've said I like the book, I do not like Emily Griffin.
Okay. Oh, okay.
And I'm sorry to be a hater and like really
Is she a bad person?
no, I read her latest book.
Okay.
I think it's called The Summer Pact or something like that. Something Pact.
Okay.
I don't even
Pregnancy
want-
pact?
No. It came out this summer. I read it on my honeymoon because I just wanted like a beach read. Fuck that book and fuck that writing. Like, I'm sorry. It was just, I was angry after reading it.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
was
hate
fucking
that.
furious. I hated it. And I will never pick up an Emily Griffin again. Sorry, said it.
Wow.
Bye.
Why did you hate it so much?
It was revolting.
Okay.
It was revolting.
I really want to know, like, what?
The premise is 4 college friends, one of whom passes away just before senior year ends. And it's like the 3 surviving friends make a pact to each other. Whenever we're really like down bad, we'll all get back together. Like, you can say so and we will support each other. We're not going to let another of our group, you know,
Fall through the cracks.
yes, fall through the cracks. Exactly. fuck this bitch. I'm so sorry.
No.
It's so bad. She writes like, it's like trauma porn. It's
Okay.
like, it's just also not like real people. Like
Yeah.
it's like, oh my God, it's just horrific. And then I know I'm being so emphatic right now. I just hated the book, and it was because of the author.
And sometimes that's just how it is.
Yeah.
And I've been there. I mean, the book club, I'm going to slander the book club we read in December.
Yeah.
It really pissed me off.
Yeah.
It was so bad. And then I Googled this woman and I was like, she's written like 20 books. How is this possible?
Uh-huh.
She can't even like string together a chapter for me, personally. So I don't understand.
No, I know. And then it makes you so angry.
Yeah. It is also like, wow, you can be really bad.
Yeah. No, you can. You can have the beach house.
It's like totally fine, yeah.
Yeah. But so beach is your happy.
Yeah,
setting.
I think I like the beach. Well, imagine that's just the point of it. I think I like the beach. I could see it going either way for me personally, though, with this setting. Because I do like a New York. I do like a New York setting as well. Catherine Walsh, all of her books are set in Ireland, and I like eat
I
it
love
up.
that. I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
And talk about like that again. It's so faithfully rendered.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
Yeah, that's probably more important than like the actual setting. Maybe is like
Yeah.
getting it right. I had one thing I wanted to ask, which is like, what is your spice level preference, and like, what do you want your book? What's your level of spice that you want in the book?
On a scale of what's what? Like,
I
are we
did
using
1
a
to
10-point
5.
scale? 1 to 5. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so here, I'm gonna justify my answer before you get my number. I need at least like I want 2 to 3 scenes, but probably not more, that are like, oh my God, like you might blush while reading.
I think that's a really good answer.
But then within those scenes, I need it to not go too far.
Yeah.
Okay. Like,
Yeah. I feel you.
I had a Tessa Bailey book
Yeah.
in my Kindle library. I don't think I read it. I think I just like downloaded it before a flight. I had not read her previously.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And then
Crazy.
my mom has I think it's connected to like my Audible too. And my mom uses that.
Yeah.
And so she played this, like listened to it in her
Listening
car.
to a Tessa Bailey, period, even if you're just not your mom or like a mom,
Yeah.
mortifying.
Mortifying. Thank God nobody else was in
Yeah.
the car. But she was like, oh my God. And I was like, yeah, dude, I read that on a plane.
I read that in public.
And it's like, I'm sorry.
No.
It goes too far for me.
I agree. I also think Tessa Bailey, she's great, but some of her writing is a little bit like, it feels a little bit like fan fiction-y. The quality of the writing is a little bit like, you could have published this online.
Like
I'm being
Wattpad.
yeah, it's a little bit Wattpad-y, I
Yeah.
think. So like, sometimes when it's such hardcore smut and the characters are so like one-dimensional, that's really
Yeah.
hard for me to reconcile.
Yeah.
Whereas like the book we just read, How to End a Love Story, I would say the smut scenes were almost on par with Tessa Bailey.
They were pretty graphic.
In how graphic they were.
Yeah.
But the characters were so
Real and
rich that
yeah.
it was kind of like, I was fine with it.
Yeah.
Personally, I think
That's
I'm
right.
kind of with you where I like, I think sometimes when it's so heavy on the smut, you're like, it's exhausting.
right.
Where like, I think I like 2 or 3 scenes where
Yes.
we can all be blown away and then
We can all
move
clutch our
on.
pearls together.
Yeah. And I
yeah.
think I also like the chase of the next scene.
Yeah.
Where it's like, sometimes when a book is too smutty, you're like, it's just like, every
Again?
page.
Oh my-
It's like, oh my God, take a nap.
Yeah.
Whereas like, I like having to like be like, oh, when I wonder if they're gonna kiss again.
I know, yeah.
But what's your number of like, I guess, if you have
On
to
a scale of
have
1 to 5, to
Yeah.
return to your original question, probably a 3.
Yeah, I put 3.5. I think I definitely don't want it to be, I think, and I like, all I do is heap praise on Emily Henry, but she does a really good job, I think, of like giving you enough without it being too much.
Yep, I think that's exactly right.
And it's
Yep.
never gratuitous.
And it is, I think your point about it being like couched with so much like character development
Plot.
and plot,
Yeah.
like it feels like it's like ooh, a treat.
Yeah.
If you're already
I've
really
rewarded.
yeah, enjoying like a great book. Like you're
yeah.
invested in them, and so like you really are kind of like
It's good payoff.
blushing when
Yeah.
these characters you really care about are like
Get together.
yeah. And with the Tessa Bailey of it all too, I think like isn't her thing kind of writing like gruff men and
It's
honest
like
women.
very yeah, like the characters themselves are almost like pornographic. I don't know how else to describe it. They're very
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
like not real people.
Right.
Like
Yes.
even the thoughts they have about each other are so like what?
What?
Like, and the way she writes men to me is just crazy. It's crazy.
Crazy.
These men are always like extremely possessive
Yeah.
and jealous and like
And she's clearly writing to like some like woman's like
fantasy.
ideal.
Yeah.
Who are those women? I'm so
I'm
scared.
scared. I'm scared for them and I'm scared of them.
Totally. And I fear in T2 they're more out there than we think.
Yeah, they're they're the women of T2. Okay, wait. I also wanted to ask: is there anything you like really don't like? Like anything that you will definitely not have in your book?
Okay. I don't want to bastardize your question
But no, please bastardize my question.
well, because no, I feel like I should have, like, and I'm sure there are things that like I really do just like hate, but nothing's popping into my head. I think something I'll be careful with in my book because it can really sour something, even quite a good book for me, and then it really contributes to when I think a book is like
Trash.
pornography. Yeah. Pet names.
Ooh, wait. I'm so with you there. God,
right.
I just always agree with you.
I just because like not to again just come for Tessa Bailey's.
No, she's a classic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh.
But there is something like it's very Wattpad-y to have like I just read 2 books over the Christmas break where it was like Sweetheart.
Sweetheart is
I
such,
think
it's
that
in
was-
vogue
I
right
think
now.
it's a thing with certain romance novels. It's like I think certain women like to be called sweet. I think it's like a thing.
But like often it's used in like the really explicit like
No, that's what I'm saying. I think it's
sex
like
scenes.
I think it's a thing. And I hate it.
Sweetheart.
Yeah, I hate it.
Oy.
It's so creepy. It's very like patronizing to me.
Same.
It's creepy.
Same. I don't like that. The book we talked about last episode, How to End a Love Story, is so great in so many ways. Like really characters
Oh
I
my
rooted
God.
for. Crackerjack. Crackerjack.
I can't believe we didn't talk about that. That was so sorry. We gotta explain this. He calls her sweetheart. Actually, that was another book where he
of the
calls her
sweethearts.
sweetheart only when they are in the throes of passion, and it feels like dirty. It is.
It is.
Which
dirty.
sorry, not to yuck anyone's yum, but yuck. But then when he was like, I call her sweetheart in these scenarios, and then when I'm feeling very silly, I call her Crackerjack.
Which comes out of nowhere.
Comes out of nowhere, and he gives no explanation.
None.
He's just like, I call her Crackerjack, and then it's sprinkled in through the rest of the book, and every single time I was like, ugh.
So inorganically.
Yeah.
Like every time it's in, you're like,
It throws you off every time, and you're like,
why
this
would
is
you
so
have just said
harsh.
that? Crackerjack. Yeah, even though, like,
Yeah.
phonically.
I don't know phonics. I don't know what.
I think it's for sonic.
Sonically,
Sonically, but phonetically.
the whole thing is bad.
Phonically.
It's bad top to bottom.
Tip to tail.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
really, really, really hated it. I'm so glad you said that.
Yeah. But I do like, for example, like a nickname, not a pet name.
Yeah, like if he calls her by her last name,
Right.
like I'm into that.
Me too.
Like,
Yep.
you know.
Even like a normal, like a babe would be fine.
Yeah, I agree.
In dialogue, used organically.
Yeah, and like, yeah, you're not trying to force it.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't know why she did that. I'm sorry. Now I'm like really like,
Crackerjack.
was it like an Easter egg for someone? Like, it felt so crazy.
It felt like she had like written the whole book herself and then turned over just a few passages to an insane AI.
Yeah. Yes.
Like, I don't even.
It came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And I really think if you're gonna drop in a crazy nickname like that, tell
Cracker-
us why. Does she
It
like
was so unhinged.
Crackerjack the snack? Like,
Was it about the snack? Was it, I don't, what else could it mean?
he went to Cracker Barrel, like crazy.
Yeah.
That's a good call out though. Sometimes I don't like fate too much. Like when fate is like used too much as a fallback. Like I read this one book. I think it's called One Day in December. I like to read like Christmas. I like to read Christmas romances around the holidays. So like every year I try to find as many as possible. And I read this book called One Day in December. Do you want to say something?
I don't.
I read this book and it was like this woman saw a man from the bus. And that was the whole book, was her like finding the guy that she saw while she was on the bus and ending up with him. And I was like, I can't believe that. I can't believe I see hot people from the bus every day, but that doesn't mean
That's like the story arc of the Trans-Siberian Orchestra. That's what that is.
just crazy. Like I don't like that. I obviously have made it very clear how I feel about friends to lovers.
Yeah.
Also, this is something I don't totally like, is like a wealth gap.
Oh, interesting.
Like, well, I don't know if I think it can be done really well. Or like there are certain things I could like about it, but like I read that book, is it called The Honeymooners? Unhoneymooners?
Oh, yeah.
No, that's not what I read though.
Oh.
Paradise. Sorry. The Paradise Problem by Christina Lauren.
Tell me about it
You
again.
thought you had read it, but I don't think you had. It was like this woman who she like, it's a fake marriage, and this woman gets married to this guy because she needs to be able to like stay in her student housing or something.
Oh.
And then
No, I have read this.
okay. You said you didn't like it because they talk about her boobs, but I don't remember them talking about her boobs.
That I'm
much.
confusing with another book.
Okay, I see.
But no, I know I've read this.
I didn't love that he like pulls her out of poverty by marrying her ultimately.
Does she have pink hair?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've read this.
Okay, sorry. I didn't mean to slander you.
Not at all. No, I mistakenly said I was mad about her boobs before. I think that book was good though. I liked it.
I liked it too. I think I just found like I did like it. I think I just found the vast wealth gap to be a little bit like saviory in a way I didn't like.
I hear you.
And she ultimately like becomes a successful artist and it's fine, but it feels very like
Right.
I just don't love it.
I do like a wealthy.
Yeah, wealth
I like
is
a
fine.
book about wealth.
Yeah.
But I get what you're saying.
I don't necessarily want like a savior.
Yeah.
Man, maybe if the roles were reversed, I'd be more into it. Like
Maybe.
But that's kind of all I don't like, I would say.
No, I think this is like the kind of stuff we need to start grappling with because it's
Yeah.
about time to put pen to paper, baby.
Which should we set up our next
It's
week?
about time to put pen to paper, Crackerjack.
My brother ew, I hated it. My brother like called me this week. He was like, "Have you even like put pen to paper?" And I was like, "Stop coming for my neck right now." No.
Absolute hater. All right.
Yeah.
Has he ever written a book?
Good point. I don't think so.
Next week we will be ready to share
a brief pitch.
a brief pitch
Yeah.
of each of the books.
Maybe we should look up, I don't know, this is just an idea, like how to pitch a book.
I love that. I kind of was thinking maybe we should approach it through like the back cover, like
Ooh, I love that idea.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that idea.
So maybe we each prepare and share.
A back cover?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so fun. Okay.
Yeah. And we're allowed to change our minds about certain things too, okay?
Yeah. Put down your gun.
But until then, I have one final question for you.
Yeah.
What's the most romantic thing that happened to you this week?
Okay, mine is an overshare, 1, and 2.
Like this whole fucking podcast isn't?
2, it's gonna be like it's not gonna come off romantic at all.
Okay.
But my perspective on it, and which I will say you helped me get to this perspective, is romantic.
Okay.
So 2 weeks ago, I told my therapist I'm trying to be more intentional about dating this year because I often do this thing where I like go on the apps, swipe, or I get on there, get really upset and leave. And I don't respond to anyone because I'm like, this is really awful. One of my goals for the year was to spend 15 minutes a day on the apps,
Really?
actually messaging people and responding to people.
You have a screen time goal you're trying to meet.
Yeah, when I try to leave the app, it's like, no. So And Hinge, like, we all know, I'm sorry, you don't, because you never had the pleasure of being on Hinge, but, like,
No.
it's, like, really, like, the worst people ever are liking you on there. And you have, like, a 1% chance of matching with someone who you might like.
Perfect.
So I started talking to this guy, and I was very enchanted, because I was, like, sharing every detail.
It was fun, yeah.
And I found myself getting so wrapped up, and like developing a crush on a person in the phone, which isn't good.
You were having voice note conversations.
Yeah, okay, I will say he was like sending me voice notes, and I was like, I was kicking my damn feet. And they were very like, they were cute.
And that certainly makes a person more real than just like text and Hinge.
Well, and here's the other wrinkle. He lived in a different state. Mm-hmm. And I'm not talking like Hoboken. He lived in like a full different state.
Like not even a state with great public transportation.
Or like a good public reputation. But I was like, it's fine. I'm having fun. And I was like, he immediately tried to set up a date, which I was like, that's great, because like
shows initiative
and like that he's here enough
interest.
Where like,
yeah.
And I'm like, I'm already in my head, I'm 10 steps ahead. I'm like, well, we can make it work.
Well, you're not going to waste your time with someone who lives fully not even in the tri-state area.
Right. Right. Thank you.
Yeah.
As soon as we made a date, he kind of like, the communication started getting weird. I've done enough at time on Hinge to like know the warning signs. Mm-hmm. And so my antennas are going up, but he's doing this thing where he just gives me enough.
Right.
Where I'm like, okay, I guess we're still talking.
Right.
I'm confused. And then Saturday night, he sends me like 3 more voice notes that are like asking me a bunch of questions. And I'm like, oh my God, okay, I guess we're still on. He hasn't brought up the date since we were supposed to go out on Sunday. I'm like, he still hasn't, like, he made the date and then never brought it up again. But like, I guess we're still on. I don't know.
3 more voice messages the day before
the night before the date.
You're kidding.
Isn't that psycho?
You are
well,
kidding
once you
me.
hear the end of the story, you'll be like, that's psycho.
Well.
And then Sunday morning rolls around and I'm like, I just don't feel good. Like, I'm feeling anxious in my body that this man is, like, gonna ghost me just based on, like, the conversations we've been having. So I was just like, so I don't have to sit around all day being like, do I have to shower?
Right.
I was like, hey, feeling like, are we on? I never heard from him again. And I know.
Fucking coward.
This is, like, not a horrible story. It's really not that bad. This happens all the time, but I was like at first feeling really bad about myself because I was like, how could I fall for this shit again? And then I was like, and it's actually kind of beautiful that I still have the ability to go clinically insane over a man for 7 days.
Totally.
And it's that, yeah, I didn't know I still had that in me to believe, man.
Oh, hell yeah.
So
you have to.
Yeah, silver linings. But, like, it actually is, like, I'm like, oh, I feel like I so rarely am interested in people.
Having a crush is powerful and devastating, and ultimately can be the engine behind a lot of great work, too.
Yeah. You said to me earlier this year when I was in, like, the throes of a mental health crisis, you were like, I think if you just had a crush right now, everything would be fine. And I was like, you're so right.
Having a crush is
it's all relative. But
that is romantic, though.
I'm okay.
That you put yourself out there, that you
said to me, because I was like, I'm just feeling like really bad about myself for like falling for it, I guess. And you were like, no, you should feel proud of yourself for like putting yourself out there and having the opportunity to get fucked over. Like,
I think that's deeply romantic. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's mine. And I really got to stop the unavailable people. I got to stop doing that. But
how were you to know? No.
The location.
It's a bad state.
It is. Let's just say, yeah. We won't say the state, but it's one of the bad ones.
It's one of the bad ones. Okay.
Sorry, what's the most romantic thing that happened to you this week?
Well, thank you for
You're welcome.
Mine is, you're gonna be like, oh, I just laid myself bare.
No, it's okay. I feel good about it.
Here I am with the answer. I had a bento box for lunch.
absolutely never ever would have guessed that that's what you were gonna say. Okay, you had a bento box.
I had a bento box for lunch at work. My company provides us with lunches, and normally I stick to just it's a salad or something, a known quantity, because my company, great to provide us with lunch, somehow churns out the wettest food you've ever seen. No. Everything. It doesn't matter if it's a salad or a sandwich or
it's got a sheen.
Plate. Beyond a sheen, Siege, it's wet. It's like every single kind of meal you could get is about 20% wetter.
They just want you to have water.
So it was uncommon that I would kind of like go outside my tried and trues.
Yeah.
But there was like a special meal that day. It was a bento box.
I can't believe they gave you a bento box.
But the nature of the food, this is crazy, was Mediterranean.
Every new thing you say is shocking.
So like one compartment has a hummus, another has like the grape leaves stuffed, the stuffed grape leaves.
I don't like those.
I didn't know what they were stuffed with this time, and it was wetter.
I was gonna say, I bet it was wet.
It was wet, but each of the pockets, it was nice, it was fine. But I thought of bento boxes. What a romantic kind of food.
Yeah.
To put that much care into like unique and like thoughtful little compartments.
Yeah.
I used to get like Instagram reels of moms making bento box lunches for their kids.
Yeah.
And it'd just be like, to put so much care into delighting the person who's going to eat that meal with like little thoughtful compartments.
Yeah. Little like cookie cutter when they do like the heart shaped melon.
You're right. Careful, thoughtful.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I don't know, it makes the act of preparation so front of house. A bento box.
Yeah.
And I thought, like how romantic to prepare.
That's really sweet. Yeah.
Food so diligently for someone you love. And I'm not saying my company loves me. I'm just saying a bento box.
Oh, you love your company. They
don't love me back. But I think bento boxes are romantic.
I totally agree. That's really, really nice. What else was in the bento box? The grape leaves, the little hummus.
Grape leaves, the hummus. There was like a chickpea salad.
Oh yeah, this is like vaguely airplane food. But yeah, this is really nice.
I actually did have that thought, and I was like, I don't find airplane food romantic.
No, God, no.
But I do find it romantic.
Maybe if they put it in a bento box.
And I actually do find it romantic when they bring over your little bottle of wine with your meal.
Yeah.
That's nice.
That's very European, I feel like, to get a little bottle of wine.
Totally.
No, I really like that. And it's also very like Valentine's Day coded, which we're coming up on.
And
like to make it
we love Valentine's Day.
Toe box is like a Valentine to me.
I love that. Yeah, 100%.
100%.
All right. Well,
see ya when we see ya.
See you pitch week.
Yeah. Oh God.
All right.
Get right. Pitch it.
Pitch it. Bye.